We are recording now.
All right, sweet. And I guess everybody's here. Max didn't make it today. That's all right. But Maddie's here. Okay, it's the crew. It's the crew. All right, we got everybody in the house. Oh man, does everybody have their tortillion? This might actually be. This actually might be the. I think this is a strange one, but I think I'm going to start with the angel's nose, and I think I'm going to start with the tortillion, and I kind of get the angle of the nose right there. So the nose, of course, makes an L, and so the broad side is toned, and then the right side, you know, that little ridge will make a backwards L, not an L, but a backwards L. And then the keystone blends right up into the forehead. So that's kind of fun. And then there's the eye itself makes a sphere. We know this. So that little toned dot here, I am going to then draw the far side of the eye. And I think there's got to be an upper eyelid. And then there's got to be a lower eyelid. So it's so abbreviated. And you know, these guys, when you've drawn so many faces, you can, like, you know, the marks, but not necessarily the viewer, because this isn't for anybody else except for himself, which is kind of an interesting way of thinking about it. I just noticed there's a little dark dot on the nose, and I'm wondering if this is actually the underside of the nose. This might be a mistake, but there's a little tick underneath the nose where the lips touch, a very fine line there. And I'm desperate to get, you know, basically to the chin. So I'm going to do another backwards L for the chin, because I would typically say I want to do the right eye, but I don't see the right eye there. And you know, one of the things that I think, if I were, I don't know, I think I might just drill this home. If I were to ever have like a student that I knew I was going to have for a long time, and I might actually force people to learn the silhouette components of the face. And this is what's going on down the side of the face. So there's the fleshy part of the cheek over here. The angel's got some, you know, some rosy cheeks. But the silhouette, we've got we need to get this line, and it's not just a bunch of, like, you know, haphazard lines, and it's not from observation. He's going through a dance of known content, like known marks that he's looking for, which is just a standard face. So you get the edge of you get like the, you know, the side of the nose, you know, the eye is over here. So then the first line is a vertical, which is basically the edge of the brow ridge, like the temples. And then you come down into the cheekbone, and then you go from the cheekbone down into fleshy part of the cheek, which is another curve. And then you get the, you know, a short straight for the, for like the jaw. And then above that temple, you get the brow ridge, and then the forehead. And it seems like this, it seems so subtle, but when you name it, it's so much easier to see. And Delacroix does this other thing a lot, which I wish last week we did this little, I'll draw it up here. We did this little foot for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they have these little like almost like moccasins or whatever. They're like these little leather, like, you know, dwarf feet. And there's one like flap of leather that's in front of the other flap of leather, that's in front of the other flap of leather, and then you get like the toe. And then you come down the ridge, you get into the heel, and it goes back up, and you've got, like, you know, the Seven Dwarfs little shoe, his little leather shoe. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I believe the hair, which really the hairline is defined by these bangs on our angel. So if we go to the forehead, we've got the bangs that is on this side, which is now behind this set of the bangs, which is now behind this bang, which is now behind this bang. And then we turn the corner and you get a nice little S curve there, which is then in front of this one, which then this tuft comes out from behind that one. And it feels very flame-like, very weightless. And then the way that the hair is silhouetted, you know, on the top of the head. It's a heck of a head of hair. The drawing, it doesn't say what it's made of. It looks like it's pencil to me. And what happens with pencil, as you guys know, is that smudges and it can get erased and it can get it looks like it got smudged. And, you know, or maybe even he didn't make it heavy enough. I don't know. But then the bangs come down this side. You get temple hair and then you get back hair, or not back hair, but, you know, neck, you know, head and neck hair. The next feature, so interesting. I wish I knew better what this anatomy was, because I want there to be a brow ridge, and maybe this is a brow ridge right here. You know, maybe there is a little bit of an expression on his face, you know, on the angel's face. As we get down into the pit of the neck, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the angle of the torso. You know, the Jacob is really coming at the angel with force, and he or she is pushing off, pushing back, and so his shoulders are going way far back, and then the neck and head come forward. So when the chin drops, the pit of the neck and the chin, you know, come really close to one another. So, and we just want to get to that point. So we get to the chin. Then we're going to get the double chin, which is just a little excess skin that helps link us up to, you know, the separation between, you know, the head and the neck. And then we'll get this little convexity. And then this would be the pit of the neck leading to the top of the, probably the sternum. But in the same way that there's these little delicate lines to get the profile, in order to get down to the neck, you have to go through the chin again, through the double chin, and then into the pit of the neck / sternocleidomastoid, and then the top of the sternum. And unfortunately, we got to get the earlobe, but then, you know, my neck doesn't really fit on the page, and my cheeks come up higher. We should probably do the brow ridge on this side and then see the zygomatic arch heading back, like the temple. And then sideburns would be in here. Tragus. Now the next angle, I do really appreciate the thrust of the head, you know, being at this angle, and then the thrust of Jacob's head is, you know, it makes an extreme. It's not exactly perpendicular, but it's, you know, it's pretty darn close. So if we got the angle of Jacob's brow ridge, and then he's going to be seen, I think, pretty close to profile. So this is what we would call maybe 3/4 view on the angel. And, you know, if I put in the pupil, lower eyelid, I just can't tell whether that looks more or less like a person or not. Oh no. Steph, did you get booted?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Did everybody get booted or just me?
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Okay.
Let me check my Wi-Fi is super duper strong.
Yeah, so it must be just something happened here.
It's okay. I'm gonna move this over here so we can grab a little more. Let's see. Kristen's in the waiting room. All right. Okay, so he seems to be honestly like a little bit confused about about where the features of the face are going to go. So I'm just gonna do the parts that I think are pretty solid. He's got the jawline, he's got the edge of the jaw leading up to the ear. So he seems pretty confident with the placement of the ear. And then the trapezius back here is overlapping. We're seeing Jacob from behind. This is his entire back view. And then this arm is being held back. And then this arm seems to have like actually a pretty good position underneath the armpit of the angel. So he seems like he was pretty committed almost to the back and the arm. And then the head could have gone a couple of different ways. He could have turned the head exactly profile. It could have been a lost profile. But we can, it looks as though we can decipher some of these marks in and around the eye, angle the brow ridge, maybe lower eyelid, definitively mouth. And he's looking like he could be like gritting his teeth, and there could be like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mouth kind of going on here. And then maybe there was a nose and then bangs. It's kind of, I kind of like the ambiguity of it because it gives us, something to, ponder. All right, so here we go. So I got the axis of the head, and at the moment, this angle is just, being distracting. But I do have the cranium on the top of the head. There is an indication of the back of the head. And then I can maybe come in from the back of the head to do the ear, the helix down into the earlobe, and then the back of the jawline. He gets this little elbow at that jaw. Then trapezius comes in front of that. And then you get that little divot at the strap of his, I wonder what that is. Yeah, it's just like, it looks like a sash over his shoulder, kind of easing the transition from the trapezius, into the deltoid, big deltoid, flexed deltoid. And then, I guess we could come up from the bottom, and we got the jaw. I'm going to do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle growl. And then we'll do the nose and profile. That is an L shape. Transitions into the keystone, into the forehead, and we'll do an angled brow, upper eyelid, lower eyelid, pupil iris, and then rosy cheeks maybe. I mean, of course, this is just my interpretation, but I think it's a little more animated. So you can identify what the features are. And then he must have some hair that's, some bangs. Oh, nice. Okay. So this is I guess that is right. Okay, so this must be.
Are those wings? Or are those just muscles?
Well, this is tell me what you all think about this. Let me just lose my drawing here for a second. I just completed that deltoid, and then I was thinking that the arm went underneath the armpit and was coming back up underside here, but I don't think that's true. I think I think there's like the arm goes into trapezius. I think this is deltoid right here, and then that might lead into the other grip. Like this might be his other hand.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
kind of twisting, gripping from the front. One arm up here, and then the other at kind of an awkward angle.
Yeah.
There may be an answer to this because he did turn this into a painting. Wow, cool. So this is,
Oh, yeah.
so he did change it. So wow, that's a beautiful painting. The same thing is happening.
Wow.
There's the hair that's layered, the head gets ducked down, and then the arm does go underneath
Yeah.
in this one. Look at that back. And he maintained the sash. And then the face is in the both faces are in more profile. So he turned the angel's head even more.
Yeah.
And I think he did multiple versions of it. So I think this is the same one, it's just further away. Beautiful angel wings, like very, very, that's a lot of contrast for an angel wing. Incredible.
Sure looks heavy.
Yeah, right? They really do.
How did he put his clothes on?
That's why they drape cloth.
Yeah, exactly. That would be difficult. Although, I mean, I sleep on my stomach anyway. Yeah, so I guess he only did really one painting. So this is the whole thing, and it's a mama jama. That's this is the architecture. This is the frame. That's not a frame. This is like in a building. It's got to be pretty close to probably half life size, 3/4 life size. I mean,
Oh,
pretty
wow.
big. And
So
then
that's on a wall.
Look at those trees.
Wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, those trees. And that going back into that space. And then it's so bad. Look at the that little grouping of figures on that side. That's not bad. It's just funny. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, let's go back. I want to go back, and having seen that now.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the even the angle of the wings were he reversed. I think he reversed them. So this one, the back one, is more vertical, and then this one is at an angle, and then he flips them. Sorry, I got out of focus. And then he makes this wing a vertical element, which really makes sense because he's almost more like a wall in the much more stable and much more much more form and shadow. Jacob's not wearing any shoes in this one. He is in the other one. Okay, that's a nice warm up, right?
Yeah.
It's such a weird, it's such a story and a subject I didn't have any intention on doing. I still don't have any. It just keeps coming around. It just keeps showing up everywhere. Okay. Does everybody have their Rembrandt hats? Let's just crank this
Can
one
we,
out.
Trevor, can we have a 2-minute?
Yeah.
If anybody else needs it.
So we're done with this guy?
We're done with this guy. Yeah, this one was just supposed to be a warm up.
Oh,
You want to keep going?
yeah, man. If I'm the only one, don't worry about it. I'll finish it on my own.
No, I want to do it. I think it looks really beautiful. But like, I don't want to mess up any like plans that we had before. So whatever.
No, you're fine.
So
Let's see if I can do it this
Rembrandt.
other way.
I think I finished my Rembrandt.
You did your hat?
I think so.
I definitely have not. I gotta get my hat on record.
I should redo it though. It's probably not right.
I mean, you could definitely work on it and correct it.
Okay.
I'm still terrified of it.
Well, then let's do the hat.
I mean the wing. I mean, the other thing is that I would have done this. I guess I could catch up. I just don't know how I'm going to be able to offer this with this angle. I wonder if I did it, if I could show it on my phone. It's a goodie. Yeah, I could have sketched them a lot. I could have sketched them smaller. We had the
The piece that would be nice to do is their intertwined arms, maybe not their entire bodies. Just sort of the construction of the shoulders out to the arms and the way they,
the ones on the right.
well, yeah, and the others if we had time, but we could sort of say 20 minutes to do a little more of how entangled they are, at least on their upper bodies.
Yeah, I know. The whole weave of the picture is actually like phenomenal. Let's see.
Trevor, what is, I can't make out what is in the middle of his face. I can make out the ear, but what is to the left of the ear?
That's supposed to be his eye.
Excuse me?
I think it's supposed to be his eye.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the this is the interpretation that I came up with.
This is
And
black-eyed.
and he doesn't know. That's the thing, he doesn't know. I think this drawing was about having the actually sketching the intertwined, just the complexity of a mortal attacking an angel, but having there be in fact a struggle. It's not like, I feel like it's such a little brother trying to come at the older brother, and the older brother could take him out at any moment, and the little brother just has so much spunk that he just can't stop, and there's so much drive that he just cannot stop, and and the older brother's just like, oh my god, how long is this going to go on for? But yeah, and so and that's what he's trying to capture. Like there's all of the spastic movements of Jacob, and kind of the controlled resistance of the angel. I mean, it's so good. I mean, it's just really is so good. And it's not like Jacob's not providing any force. Okay, so yeah, we can do this to 10:30. I mean, oh no, not this again. Sorry, y'all, I gotta change my settings. Brightness and display. Never. We are so lucky to have this one. And it is kind of a fun, stick figure. So I started with the angel's head, and then, the angle of the neck is super important. And then, this like unbelievable S curve, down into the pelvis. Look at how forward the waistline is, where these thighs begin. And, he really is, from hip to knee, and then again from knee down to the ankle. I mean, the foot is so far. If you think of like normally when you would line up the pit of the neck with the stand leg, it's that is the pose, and then the angel appears to be coming downhill. So there may be like a hill factor in the pit, helping to get almost giving the advantage to the angel. Definitely. So as far as stick figures go, we've got the head into the neck, and then we got the shoulders to the elbow, which is, you know, clearly above the waist. And then the little, whenever I draw wrists, I draw from shoulder to elbow. You can add like you can add a little arc to it, but with wrists from shoulder to elbow, I'll do a little torque. So like it's actually more of an S curve from elbow to wrist. And then the wrist to the palm, and then the palm, then the knuckles are wrapping around. So the angel is wrapping around the thigh here, you know, so it's the crease of the knee to the thigh. So, you know, we know where the point of Jacob's knee has got to be because we have the angel. So that's knee to hip, and then knee to ankle. Impressively long. Maybe I made that hip knee to hip a little bit too long. And then there's Jacob's foot. You get the angle of the shoulders, which is really impressively parallel, and that might also be a you know, kind of stabilizing factor of the, you know, a control factor of the shoulders of our angel. And then shoulder goes from behind the head, shoulder to elbow, and then there's a slight bend in the elbow that you don't see because the fabric is you know, from shoulder to elbow is really unseen, and then elbow to wrist, and then their hands are locked, and the angel's wrist is bent back. You know, it's bent back because of the angle of the arm. Because I've kind of committed to Jacob's leg being with this long arm of the angel, an awesomely long arm, and this angel's got some serious shoulder puffs. It looks a little bit like Kristen's blouse this morning. Big shoulder puffs. And then we'll go from hip to knee, and then we'll get the yeah, I mean, you can see how Delacroix is really, he's like seeing the block of the pelvic block, and this is actually a really unique angle. You don't really see this angle, and of course he had to cover it up because it'd be all, you know, the fromunda, if you know what I mean. So anyway, we'll get this thigh, and we got to try to find the angled back plane of that pelvis. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I need to place the sacral triangle. And he doesn't, maybe he gives us this little triangle right there. And the reason that is so important is because I need to, once I get that sacral triangle, so maybe it's up a little bit higher, then I got to get the angle of the spine. And then from the angle of the spine, I can get the angle of the shoulders. I can build the rest of my stick figure. Shoulders into the head. I love the men's backs are just so, they really are handsome. One of the most beautiful forms on, I think, the male figure is this trapezoidal, the broad shoulders. They are like in a way that you know, women's hips are inverted trapezoids, and wider hips, you know, are really beautiful forms. The broad shoulders of men in this inverted trapezoid is also a really gorgeous form, handsome form. So we get this broad mass of this trapezoid of the back, and then we'll get the side plane of the rib cage. And this is the first real kind of 3D form that we've created so far, but it's just like, it's so vital. So we got this shoulder joint to the elbow, and I think the elbows, the points of the elbows almost overlap. If you can use a little bit of X-ray vision, the elbow of the angel and the elbow of Jacob, they're really close together. And then we get this point of the shoulder here, shoulder to elbow, and then elbow to wrist. And you know, this is where Jacob really, I guess he doesn't have the advantage, I was going to say that his Jacob's hand appears to be higher than the angel's hand, but they are pretty darn close to one another. The movement is all from Jacob, and the resistance is all from the angel. So unfortunately, I have to move my picture over so I can see the knee block, the arc from knee to ankle, and then the extreme pressure. Oh God, that looks great. The heel, and then you get from heel to the foot. Look at that. Look at the angle. Look at how much of that leg, the lower leg, is covers up the stand leg. Sorry, got those stupid things. And one of the things when you work with figures, especially comps, you want to be able to once you go from head to toe, you want to get oriented and like, is my foot relatively placed to Jacob's foot, and it is. Is this heel a little bit too high? Yeah, it looks. It's all the placement of my feet are all within reason. Maybe this foot's a little bit further away. This calf muscle comes out a little bit more, but I'm feeling good about that. Let me zoom in here. And this is where you do get a nice fusion of the concept of enclosure, which is a two-dimensional. Oh, I'll zoom out a little bit because I have to actually do it in the piece. Move this. I want to be able to see the wings. Ooh, damn it. Yes. So ironically, the major muscle of wings, like on angels, like when we're using the adaptation, the main structural part is like the shoulder to elbow is left out. So really, it's elbow to wrist, and the elbow to wrist, and then the wrist out to the fingers is the major portion of the wing. So it's not really anatomically correct, obviously. But then imagine that the elbow is attached to the scapula, and then it goes elbow to wrist up here, and then wrist all the way to the fingertips with these long wingtips. And in this case, the left wing is higher, and the vector of the first wing is at this angle, and then the vector from wrist to the wing tip is at this angle. And they make a little crisscross back there. Mm-hmm. 1026. I'm essentially making a miniature, which I love. My favorite thing is to go from drawing 6 feet figures to 3-inch figures. It's exciting. It's versatile. All right, so let's see what we can do. We remember we started with that nose. So do an L shape for the nose, a little circle for the eye, the mouth. I don't know if it's like, he wasn't lazy, but maybe, he just thought it was a better view to do the angel in profile in the painting. But we'll stick true to the drawing here. And we'll do some bangs. And we know that chin is, because of remember the S curve I made of the spine? That aggressive turn of the spine adjusts the angle of the sternum. and the head is tilted down, the neck angles forward, the head tilts forward. And so then there's this short distance between the chin and the chest. The neck comes down behind the ear and then quickly turns into the trapezius. And then we get I'm going to use X-ray vision, and I'm going to see that there's this epic angel deltoid. And then where that closes off is where the sleeve ends. I always try to envision like the poof. See how there's a poof right here at that shoulder? So it means the angel was going forward, because the thrust of that fabric really does feel like feels like a sail to a sailboat. So the angel is kind of raging forward. And then we'll do the biceps, and then the triceps, and then the tries enter into the elbow. And then the elbow is a bony moment on the back, and then the top of the elbow really is, it's actually a muscle in the forearm. It comes in front of the entry point of the bicep on the inside of the elbow. And then we'll get the egg-shaped enclosure. And we're going to follow this ridge of the ulna. Yes. So it's the ridge that you rest your hands on when you're eating dinner and don't have manners. When you put your elbows on the table, you don't put your elbows on the table, but you can rest your forearms on the table, and that is the ulna. And and from this angle, it's a beautiful vector that leads in, and there's this little nub right before the wrist begins. So we are seeing mostly muscles on the top of the forearm, but then because the angel is so jacked, we're seeing a little bit of the muscles on the bottom as well. But the angle of the ulna is a really important happening that I think I may have made a little bit too shallow, but that's okay. And then we'll get the wrist, which Delacroix treats like a cylinder, and he always does this. He over exaggerates the wrists, which I appreciate, which I've always traditionally underestimated. And then we'll go from wrist to knuckles, and we'll see it as a block. I'll even shade the block. And then at the knuckles, the grip turns down and it goes underneath that thigh. Now, Jacob's jacked calf muscles come in front of those fingers, but it's a delightful egg. It's almost like it's a single piece of anatomy. When we don't do figure compositions, particularly often in this class, but in a way, you could go from the angel's hands directly into the top of that thigh, where it transitions into the kneecap, and then the kneecap transitions into the tibia. You can follow the tibia all the way down to the ankle. And so because one figure depends so heavily on the other figure, they almost become one. It almost becomes like one piece of anatomy. And I have to admit, I haven't really particularly considered that before. So before I get into too much trouble, I do want to show the inside of the rib cage of the angel, and then the separation between the obliques and the pelvic arch, really the pelvis in general. So his gluteus medius comes out Gluteus Maximus goes under itself. And this is all fabric, but you can think about it, as fabric, or you can think about it as anatomy underneath the fabric. I don't think it particularly matters. So this goes hip to knee. Now I'm creating the orientation of this angel knee relative to Jacob's leg, as well as my original stick figure. And luckily, they all match. My curve for the tibia, and I'll build the calf muscle around that. Both front and back, more of the calf muscle is on the back end. And then we'll transition into this beautiful trapezoid into the ankle. I'm seeing the outside of the ankle, so the ankle bone is really low on the outside. Heel, length of the foot, outside ball of the foot. Nice angel toes. And you guys know my formula for the foot. At any time, you just start with a cloud, which is a sphere, arch the bridge of the foot into the other sphere of the cloud, and then you can add, toes on it. Now, depending if they're flat-footed, depending on the angle, all of that stuff. But the concept, is the same. And I can draw it without the construction lines, especially when I'm going this small. So I think all of this moving, flowing fabric really comes from, the Greek version, Greek depictions of angels. I'm thinking of the Venus de Milo and, all of those winged divinities that started, way before Christianity. Oh, cool. So, all right, I don't really have a choice. So I built my construction lines by going from Jacob's legs back up to his shoulders. So I mean, I really hope this works. So I'm getting the bottom of the thigh, turns the corner. You've got really what happens with the thigh, it is a block. So this is the under back of the hamstrings here, and this is the side of the thigh. Now it does get, covered by all of the clothing, and a lot of the scrunchiness is happening in here, where on the side of the torso, which is kind of fun because this leg pulls up, and he's doing like a there's that exercise where you touch your elbow to your knee, working the whole side. That's what's happening. In fact, I think it could have been cool had he had his arm come down. That would have been nice if he had his hand on the hip right here of the angel. That would be more, kind of like a football move. Maybe I'll do it that way. And I had I known we were going to do this, I would have boned up on my back anatomy. But the things that you want to, the main thing that you want to look for in the back, of course, is going to be the location of the sacral triangle, and then the position of the 7th cervical vertebra. And the spine, runs down and links those two moments. And then either side of the back, you're going to find the scapula, which is a triangle here. And then I suspect because his arm is elevated, it's a triangle this way. The scapula are these free floating bones that don't have any joint attachment, and the way that the muscles attach to the scapula, and the way that the trapezius is modeled around it, and the intersection of the deltoid, it's a fantastic weave of muscles. And I wish I could name them, but you'd be amazed of how much trouble you can get out of, because everybody knows the 7 cervical vertebrae. It's the bump at the base, it's like at the base of the neck. And then on either side of that is trapezius. That's where you get massaged. The most casual, where, who was it? I think it was George Bush that massaged Angela Merkel. Do you remember that cringe
yeah.
moment? That was wonderful. Anyway, when you're doing shrugs, and that leads up into the neck, and then we're going to get the profile view of Jacob here, which is going to be kind of fun. I positioned the head of my angel. I made her head. I keep calling it a her. I made his head really small, so I'm going to reposition the face.
Excuse me.
Scapula, deltoid, trapezius attaching into the latissimus dorsi. So you have the little base of the scapula, which is a nice little bump, and then you got the lats coming down the side. Deltoid into the bicep, which are both swelling, convex out, swell out, and then you got the delightful inner part of the, it's actually a very sensitive region, the concavity of the inner part of the top of the elbow. And then we'll get the deltoid into the triceps. And then I'm going to put a little elbow bone here. He left it out, but I'm going to do it anyway. Forearm into the wrist, and the wrist into the block of the hand. Forearm in the front, wrist, and it looks like we even could see a little bit of the tendons, and then the bottom of the palm. And that's going to reorient our angel hand ever so slightly. Just got to lift up the angel's arm a little bit. And I think I made the angel's head too small anyway, so it makes sense that the arm would be lifted as well. Beautiful jaw. Gosh. And it leads you right up into the anatomy. It's so interesting because when you understand that the artists are following instruction, and you can recognize the beauty in human anatomy, but you can also recognize the beauty in the process of drawing the figure. And so it's like a double whammy. It's like a history component, it's like a traditional component, it's a natural beauty component, and then it's an artistic beauty component. And it's kind of sweet. All right, here's my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mouth. He's growling. And I'll be forced to go from the lip to the bottom of the nose, into the keystone, where I can then get the side view of the eyes, and then a bump for the ridge, and then a forehead. And I think that looks pretty good. I think I remember the hairstyle of Jacob. He had some flow. Almost like he was wearing a hat or something. There's the tension. There's something about men when they're about to fight. They think when they get face to face, like right up in each other's face, and it's like the most amount of tension that it can exist essentially before violence. And it's a beautiful moment between these two characters, and the force and the effort that's being exerted from Jacob, and the casual resistance. I don't know how else to describe it. It really does feel like resistance from the angel, and there's like a very minimal amount of effort. Ooh, Bailey's dreaming. Go get him. Yeah, go. Yeah, you tell him. Good boy. Good boy. which it was recycling, and Bailey hates trucks, and he was barking at that that recycling truck. He didn't bark at anything except for those dump truck. He must be dreaming about dump trucks. All right, cool. So I'm gonna finish the. I guess what I was gonna say is that I don't know what's going on with the angel. I think there's clothing. I think that the angel might have a sash. We know that Jacob has a sash, and I assume that this is another sleeve on this other side of the angel. I'm just going to draw what he has for the moment. Beautiful elbow, a forearm egg, leading into the forearm wrist. Forearm egg into the forearm wrist, into the bottom of the palm, back of the palm, and then those fingers. He starts to indicate some of the muscles and a little bit of the form with these bracelet lines. The bracelet lines kind of throughout. Classic Delacroix. These little bracelet lines on the deltoid, on the tricep, and Jacob, and the tension in the back of the the edge of the. That could even be. I guess that's latissimus dorsi. A little bit of shadow here. So we got Gluteus Maximus, and then Sacral Triangle, and then Gluteus Maximus, and then medius is stretched probably. And then we'll go the fabric. We don't see the inside of the thigh, but we can infer it. Thigh into the knee. And then we get this beautiful little, he doesn't show it, but the hamstrings, lovely hamstrings. And there's this little crease that I always like to draw at this joint. So it helps find the tendons at the base of the hamstrings. And then it sets you up really nicely to build the mass. Calf muscles start narrow at the top and they get wide about a third of the way down. They reach their widest point, and then they angle back in until you get to the Achilles heel. So we do have the knee transitioning into the tibia, and then that it's kind of an elongated egg shape, generally speaking. But he gives us a nice little, some more straight lines than usual because of the flexing that's going on and pushing off. Here we're going to see the inside of that ankle bone, and then we see the outside. You can really see how the inside is higher than the outside, than the back of the heel. You would think you would see a better arch on the inside of that foot before you get to the ball of the foot, and then of course before you get to the big toe. No, I'm sorry. I made the foot too big. Yeah, and I don't think I actually made the foot too big. He made the foot.
I like
He
it.
made the foot. He made the foot small.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rely on his genius, thinking that that's probably a good decision. Even my normal size foot really felt like it stood out like too much. But thank you. I think the foot was good. It's just he understated Jacob's foot, and this is like the way that he did the angel's foot is just so classic. I love it. It did give you a little of the inside of the ankle. So just for the record, I had not planned on being this mean to you guys. Here's the heel, underside of the arch into the ball of the foot. But I hope you're enjoying it. It's super fun for me. I will do the, let me slide this over and I'll hit up those. I think I have real estate enough to do the wings for real. I do. So the wings start on this arc and then they really come up and over in a wonderful, almost like the helix of an ear. You know, it really gets that arch. And there is a lot of bone and muscle in there in the wing, and the feathers are tighter together. And then they start to spread out. There's usually one row of slightly longer feathers, and then it turns into the long wingtip feathers. A little bit of fabric that you can see on the front of the torso of the angel. Maybe Jacob's chest is a little bit bigger. I wonder if you could even see some of his pectoralis major from that angle. Not sure. All right, I'm going to try another thing that could be entertaining. These are all HD, huh? Okay, here we go. We don't have any light and shade. So what if I turned this temperature up? Would that make it easier to see or harder to see? Ironically, it makes it harder to see. I need another photo. Let's try this one. That one's, it's less resolution, but it's more exposure. Okay, cool. So some of the things I had suspected, you can see Jacob's pecs. You can, obviously the angel is in profile. His arm is going down. You see the elbow, and it's wrapping all the way around. In fact, I think he would have been better served, I swear to God, if this elbow came even steeper and almost touched his knee, and then came this way, and then you'd be able to see the hand. More of the hand around the waist, where the hand, this is all very awkward. He never solved it. He didn't solve it in the drawing, and he didn't solve it in the painting. The left arm is a disaster. That being said, maybe it's meant to be quiet so that that the angel's arm is, the principal element. I don't know. I think the legs, Jacob's legs are better in the drawing. We could add the loop of the boot, and you can see actually the bottom of his foot. The heel wound up coming up higher. Big toe. You actually see the footprint on there. I know, I apologize. It's a lower resolution, but I think you can actually see more from this. We had no light source to speak of. And here we have a great The light is coming from, really from, from the right side. So where is this? Slide this over a little bit. Sorry. We have long shadows. Why is it out of focus? So we have long shadows on the ground, attached to the angel, and long shadows from Jacob's body, and maybe the angel's body. Oh no, this is the ridge. It's on this ridge. Oh, Steph got booted again. Let's let her in.
Sorry about that.
How long were you gone for?
I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah, sorry. I guess what the last thing I did was we determined the and you guys can choose to include this or not, but it might give this thing a little bit more dimension. But the light source is coming harshly from the side, not even really from up above, but like really from the side. It may be because the sun is setting and they wrestle all night. So this could be the beginning. It could be a sunrise because they did, in fact, wrestle for the entire evening. I think that's what the scripture said. That being said, you can, the inside of the shoulder goes in shadow. The inside of this forearm is in shadow. The side of the rib cage is in shadow. The arm, the body is throwing shadow on the inside of the fabric of the angel. You can actually see the shape of Jacob's head on the chest of the angel, and then also on the neck of the angel. The back of the neck of the angel, the back of the head of the angel. What I think is probably the most exciting part, the sleeves, get quieted down a little bit, expose a little bit more of the shoulder, but then look at the cast shadow on the angel wing. Fantastic. The angel wing gets bigger. You're seeing the light on the side of the angel wing here. And you're seeing the angel and Jacob casting a shadow on the inside of the wing, getting extreme shadows on these very opaque angel wings. So we'll see shadow on the tries, on the elbow, all the way down, the core of the shadow on that tibia. Delightful. The hand throws a shadow on the top of Jacob's thigh, and then Jacob's knee goes into shadow because it turns away, and then Jacob's knee throws a shadow onto the leg of the kind of the crux of the thigh on our angel. The whole angel thigh, her fabric is in his fabric is in shadow. Inside of the knee block is in shadow. We can define the back of the calf muscle and the whole back of the leg, leading all the way down to the heel. Darken that line, and then the ankle and foot from Jacob throws a shadow onto the across the leg of the angel. So we can do the same. We'll kind of conform to that same principle now. Jacob's leg will then be in shadow. The left side of everything. There's another piece of fabric that was not included in the sketch. In the space, occupying the space between Jacob's leg and the angel's leg. And then there's this almost like fire-branded spiral S-curve of this fabric on this side, which is probably almost like the spiritual energy, the serpentine energy of Jacob reacting against it. You can see this S-curve goes up. It's all, it's like once he solved the picture, then he got to do, you know, all these other decorative moments. Oh, he included it. Son of a gun. He did include it. This is these little tendrils on the base. I thought they were like rocks or something on the ground, but they're the beginnings of the, you know, that would come up this way and then spiral back up that way. Nice. Nice one, Delacroix. The whole top of the thigh uses these folds to describe the contour of the thigh that's beneath the pant leg. I guess they're just pants. More of an aggressive belt. The whole fabric that now has recently been attached now throws a shadow on the back of the hamstrings and the side of the thigh. And then the underside, even though it's not being, oh no, there's a little shadow. That's how you know this piece of fabric wraps towards us, because it actually just is able to cast a shadow on that calf muscle. The shadow on the inside of that fabric allows the foot to stand out, and the bottom of his foot is catching the, almost like a spotlight. You know, this low setting sun or rising sun. Jacob's arm is throwing a shadow on the inner part of the wrist of our angel. And this elbow gets lowered. Wow, amazing. So his arm comes lower and then goes steeper this way. So that's a huge edit. I like it better, but it shows that he's not even, it's a less strain on the angel. So he's furthering he's furthering the concept of the angel's not trying. And I think the overall thrust of the movement and the resistance of the angel is more extreme in the drawing than in the painting. I think that was the intention of the artist. So good decision. I like the excitement, but not my painting. Get a brown umbrella for my 1-year anniversary in August. God damn it. I have to wait till freaking August. I was like, you know, those big corporations always have like, they have like kind of their brand stuff, and there's like, they always have really good umbrellas. Like, if you've ever seen like a Novartis umbrella, I don't think there's a higher quality piece of equipment in the world. I assume Brown Advisory has really good umbrellas. Okay, it's 11. Was that helpful?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yours is
I
great.
mean, it was a good time. I started off drawing the face. I think the face is the worst thing about my whole drawing. Jacob's face is pretty good. All right, fine. I'll try again. Let's do let's zoom in and see what we've got here. I do apologize. This picture, I mean, this picture looks great on my phone and looks horrible. I mean, just horrible on the screen. I'll only keep it up here for a minute or two. I think Delacroix was going for like these deep shadow shapes in the eye sockets. I know some people. I'll get a brown umbrella before August. I might have to call in a favor. Yeah, this is. I wish you guys could see what I'm seeing. Actually, maybe I can forward it to you. Well, Lord knows we're going to be warmed up. All right, I sent you this one. I wonder where this painting is. Here. It really is amazing the variation in the. Okay, cool, great. So this is it's in Paris, and it's in Saint-Sulpice.
S'il vous plaît.
That's the location. So he got that when he was late, like his late paintings. He spent, every I think every painter's kind of, at least from this generation, like the greatest honor is to do to paint a church, get like the cathedral commission like Michelangelo did, and he did get it, and he spent, I think, like the last like 8 to 10 years, like a really long time, painting this church. And it was my impression, I don't know where I got it, but one of my teachers had suggested that he had wasted really some of his prime painting years, decorating this church. So this is a late Delacroix. So, it's right near his studio. And I visited Delacroix studio in Paris. It's gorgeous. So worth it. And there's a lot of good paint. There's a lot of really nice, examples of paintings from his time and his own work. But to see the light, it's just to see a real 19th century French painter's studio. It really is a sight to see. And you understand his painting so much more because you see the light in which he executed everything, and the models came in, and so worth it. So worth it. And it's right around the corner from the church. So I went to the studio and they mentioned that it was around the corner, and I had this kind of tainted view of his like late pictures in this church, and I never went there. It's such an idiot. I'll be back. This is actually kind of good because I was nervous that the that the horse might not take the whole time, but I think it's really something we could sink our teeth into. So this will be.
I love the horse. I think that's really cool.
It's just we really need a tortillion, and the reason I'll put it on here before we start, but the reason I love the horse so much is that it only has 3 lines. I mean, it only has 3 types of marks.
Yeah.
It's got the tonal wash, it's got the very fine line, and then it's got the bold, high contrast brush stroke, like the calligraphy stroke. And it's if we and I don't even know. I think that I don't even know what order to go in. I think we should go kind of. Oh, hold on, I think it does. This is the piece that I was envisioning that when we all do it, it could be one that you actually hang up. I mean, I usually make my lessons for just content, but this one I think you could actually like display because it's got everything. It's got movement, it's got subtlety, it's got economy, it's got really gorgeous proportion. Yeah, this thing has got it all. So I'm gonna do mine. We'll do it from my photograph, some of my photos, so I can fit everything on the screen. But I just wanted to show the kind of the basics and what we're gonna look for, and I think how we're gonna start it. Yeah, the dominant vertical. Usually when you're on a horse, and I think some of you guys that know when you ride a horse, you want the figure here clearly has a center of balance, and you want to maintain that. But the horse is rearing back, and so the center of the whole picture is the intersection between the wrist and the neck, and then it comes right down through the middle of the knee, and basically the lowest point of the rib cage on the horse. That's both the center of the picture, and I think the center of balance of the combination between the two figures. And I didn't plan on the interaction between Jacob and the angel as a confrontational relationship between two entities. And here, this is going to be a symbiotic relationship between these two entities. They're working together, and so that we're going to basically start our picture, I think, by establishing the very center of our whole page, and the center of our page is also going to be the kind of the main contact point between the human and the horse. And we can build the vector, the straight line vector of the arm, the forearm, and the shoulder, and then also the curvilinear expression of the back of the neck. I think those are going to be our main intersections, so we can get everybody oriented properly. As far as the calligraphy of the painting, and it is a painting. I think it's a pen and ink. The calligraphy of the painting is going to be this wash, this tonal wash that is over a majority of the horse, and then even on the bonnet of the rider. I see it as kind of a Joan of Arc. I haven't found the title, which may or may not be true, but I seem like these legs feel like they have like some armor on them, and the figure feels feminine to me. So I don't know if that's actually the case too. Look at the S curve here that happens in the neck, and then the S curve that happens in the figure. There's a straight line vector in the upper thigh, which runs through the inner part of the elbow. This is a dominant vector here, and then it's repeated kind of in the neck and then in the head of the horse. So we're going to find a lot of repeated geometry, through here as we go. So there's the wash initially, Then there's the fine lines, like these very little fine pen strokes, like the gesture lines in the legs of the horse, some of the finer points on the sitter, the rider, and then so those are the fine tip points, the wash, and then the calligraphy, the black calligraphy from the darkest India ink, and you know the beauty of brushwork is what makes painting so appealing. You know, when you can understand the brushes and you can understand how to use them and you can come up with like the variations of brushes, you know, then you're synthesizing a color, a value, I mean, a light and a dark, the placement of the mark, you know, all three of those things, the knowledge of the subject, the drawing of the subject, and then the color of the subject, and all of those things kind of coming together in one, you know, one movement of a paint application. It really, there's nothing really that compares to it, and it can become, you know, addicting. Anyway, so what I loved about this is that we get to draw the brushstrokes. So you can almost imagine what type of brush and the angle of the brush would, you know, how it would be, you know, made, like this inner part of the ear with this little like dab and this little flick, you know, the bangs, you know, this little shape of the brush here, you know, the nostril, you know, the calligraphy of the nostril of the horse, and you know, and everywhere, like this little W. I mean, it's a W, which is probably done with one brush stroke, but it's the left pec, the sternum, and the right pec of our horse. Anyway, it'll be interesting, I think, to draw the brushstrokes. Look at this elegant S curve on the edge of the, you know, describing the edge of the hood. Anyway, so the shapes I don't think are going to be particularly challenging. You know, the point, you know, what the elements of the composition, I think we'll be able to put together pretty quickly, and then we can blur them out with a tortillon, and then we can then go from part to part: head, neck, torso, leg, belly, leg, tail. We can then, you know, build, you know, after the sketch and the tonality is in there, then we can kind of draw the brush stroke and simultaneously naming the part of the picture that it is, and every brushstroke on here is nameable, from, you know, the cast shadow from this thigh describing the rib cage and the pelvis, to, you know, the silhouette of the nostril, the bridge of the nose leading up into the keystone of the horse, to the brow of the horse, to the beginning of the mane. I mean, it's all, you know, the forehead, and then the ear on the left side. It's all, it's just like, it's almost like proof that every mark has a left brain association, has a right brain natural beauty, and then the way it was painted, and the quickness and the facility of the artist. It's a reflection of the achievement of, you know, his brain and the investment that he made in, you know, developing these skills. Delacroix is the man. And unlike a lot of, you know, and unlike a lot of painters, you can go hear him think. I mean, he wrote so much. His writing is very accessible, very practical, insightful. He speaks on every topic you can imagine. He's the type of brain that you would think, you know, it's like a Da Vinci kind of thing, where it's almost like the art was the principal motivation in his life, but he was so smart about other things that, you know, you could probably be known for more than just an artist.
There's an elegance that's very reminiscent of dressage.
Yeah, in you know, in this pose. Yeah, there's I agree, Grace. Like, it's the horse is moving, but there's not a lack of control.
Right.
You know, it's a rear, the horse, it's rearing, but You know, maybe there, I mean, you could imagine there might be a snake down here, but like, it doesn't seem like that. But it could be, I don't know. Dressage is wild. Okay. Now I have to figure out how I'm going to, because this thing is almost perfectly square.
That dreadful first mark.
I know.
Where is it going to go?
The first mark will be the center. It'll be the center of the picture.
Oh.
The center of your paper, actually. I'll show you what I'll do. Everyone has the picture, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if I need to have it on the screen.
I need to go print it out.
Oh my God. This is so scary.
Oh.
All right, so I think that's this is the middle of my paper, and I think it's balanced. And where's my viewfinder? So here, and here. That's not gonna work. Okay, so I do have my phone. I gotta sketch it from that. What is? Got my tortillon. Got this propped up. Oh man, this is so good. Let me turn my screen up a little bit so I don't have to be on the TV. Is everybody ready? Don't all answer at once. Well, let's see. Let's wait for Grace to come back. Grace, did it get printed out?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay, cool. No, you're welcome. All right. Well, the way I was thinking about it is, you know, I like the S curve of the neck, and I like the almost almost like the parallel line, the parallel rectangle of the sitter. Zoom out slightly. Hopefully this isn't. So should we move into the horse first? I think we just gotta kind of go for it. So the the neck of the horse is serpentine. So it's going to be very S-curvy. Now, the base of it, there's this like, see this little straight line right there? I love that. So this will take 30 seconds, and I think it's going to really help. It's the same psychology that I did when I was sketching the principle, the figure from the Storming of the Bastille. And I'll show it to you. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so okay, so I start with the center line, and then I'm building the structure of the whole figure. And then the point that I want to show is that I smudge it all out. See, that's the white, see the white portion? Pause it, good God. So this stage I had all the construction. And these are all the two-dimensional shapes and all the rhythms and all the masses and all that stuff.
Love that.
And then I went a little bit further and I just covered it all up with white. Now I'm working on a chalkboard. So the fact that I'm working on a chalkboard is just the opposite of what we're doing. So instead of adding a whitewash, like I did on my chalkboard, we're going to be adding a gray tonal wash. And that's what will be kind of the foundation layer of the horse. We'll be able to remove that, light it, whatever. And then I come on top of this, and now this is a Delacroix, and it was a pen and ink, and it didn't really have very many shadow shapes, but it did have, you know, the overlay, the structural overlay of the drawing. So that's kind of the process that I want to go through. We're gonna sketch almost the construction lines, still make them light, but then we can go over it with the tortillon and turn those construction lines, you know, into a gentle wash. Then on top of that gentle wash, that fine mid-tone gray, then we can go and actually draw the shapes of the pen strokes, the shape of the brush strokes, not the pen strokes, the brush strokes. And so it'll basically be this like 3-part process. And you know, so the point that we're doing now is we're starting in almost the exact same methodology where we start from the center line. We're going to build structural shapes and forms of our rider and the horse. And we're going to get all of the elements laid out in a very blocky, mechanical, and, you know, not graceful way. And then we'll smudge it all out with our tortillon in this at this point. And then we'll overlay it with the fine lines and the shapes of the brush, the black shapes of the brush strokes. And I think we'll at least be set up. We'll at least be set up for, you know, by the end of this class, by noon, we will have clearly started on the shapes of the painting.
I am so excited.
Good. Was that a little helpful?
Oh, very.
Seeing that video?
I love those blocks. It always makes so much more sense to me when I see it done that way.
I love the sound of your voice, Grace. All the things that it says. So thank you for that. All right, team. Here we go. So this is the start. I'm starting with the S curve of the serpentine neck of our horse. And then horses have a really clear, definitive break between the head and the neck. So the easiest version is to get the bottom of the head, and then the slightly more complex is the top. So they have a you know, the top of the head where we're going to have the ears. So we see the ears angled back. The top of the head makes a, you know, a wider, their forehead is like a trapezoid. So it's like a narrow at the top, wider, and then about where the eyes are, is where the widest point of that forehead is. And then it angles in, and then you get this, the top of the bridge of the nose, and then you get the beginning of the snout. We're going to get the front of the snout like it's a block, and then we get the side of the head as well. There really should be a curve here for the jaw, anticipating the placement of the eye, anticipating the placement of the nostril, and then the aggressive shadows that are in, the side of that face. Top trapezoid, front of the snout, side of the head. It's crazy. It does look like there's going to be a mane. And then I'm wondering if I'm even anticipating, I think what Delacour was suggesting, the neck does have a front, like the esophagus, and then the thickest part is this broad side. So I hadn't seen this when I was, prepping in the beginning, but there is a side plane to the neck rather, and then there's a front plane. And I think that's really most important because when we get into the torso here, the chest, you're seeing mostly the front of the chest. So, and that's the thing. It's like I'm going to call it a cube for right now, okay? And then we can round it out later. So this is the corner of a cube. Then it comes across the top of the chest till you get to the second corner of the cube. So this is the front of the cube, and this is where it gets less cubical because it's the rounder. But this is a corner, and it does turn to be the side. So we have the front, and you can actually find the center because the center is the sternum right here. And then why don't we go from the block of the torso, so it's the front plane, side plane, like an accordion, the rib cage links up to the mass of the back thigh, and the back thigh is massive. I mean, it is the hips. These horses can run so fast; they run for miles. All of that muscle is back in this back thigh and ass. There's a dip, there's a concavity from the haunches down to the hips, and then we have the rib cage, which is the egg or the accordion that links up the much more blocky front to the rounded egg shape of the back. I think it's helpful if you're going to find the S curve of the spine, the concavity of the length, the neck, I should say, the S curve of the neck, the concavity of the spine, leading into the pelvis, and then we can follow that pelvis right off the back. And I think this is where, Grace, you might be seeing something that resembles dressage, because I know that they can even control. I think it's like the excitement of the tail makes it feel more controlled, I think, too.
Maybe so.
That's great. So unfortunately, I don't see a whole lot on the left arm, but you want to imagine the horse anatomy is so simple once you realize that it's exactly like our arms and our legs. So our neck comes here and we get the pit of the neck, right? So then the chest muscles are in the front, and then just think about it like it's a human arm. So it goes shoulder on this side down to the elbow. So shoulder to elbow. Now, horses have kind of short, stubby, but extremely strong and thick humeruses. It's a humerus, right?
The
I
top,
don't know.
the
Shoulder to
muscle,
elbow. The bone of shoulder to elbow is what's the thigh bone then?
yeah, it's a humerus. The thigh bone is the humerus.
Yeah,
No, the femur.
The femur.
femur, right? Okay, so yeah, femur and then humerus. So the humerus goes from shoulder to elbow, and then you hit that elbow, and then this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. But if you don't detach yourself from human anatomy, you're fine. So you go shoulder to elbow, and then we'll go elbow to wrist. So then we get this wrist joint. So in horses, you have a thicker, larger mass. Then when you go from wrist, you go wrist to knuckles. That's the next joint on the human being. And then wrist to knuckles, you get a finger joint. And then you go from knuckles to the tip of the finger. So you can imagine that your finger joints that are all movable for us, imagine if they were all fused into one stumpy finger with a fused fingernail. That's what the horse is. So this is the finger and then the fingernail at the bottom. It's very graceful, very elegant. And so with what's missing on his gestural sketch, we could add if we wanted to. So we get the shoulder muscle, and we're going to get the beginning that you think that it's the let me pull this in for 1 second. You think that what you're getting here is the leg, but I think this is actually the edge of the back of the arm of the horse, and it could be the fabric of the saddle. Either way, it's very helpful. So we're going to go from shoulder to elbow, elbow to wrist, wrist to knuckle, and then the knuckle into the. We're going to have to figure out what the toe is actually doing. But we'll do the shoulder. We'll get the elbow down here, elbow to wrist, where we get the next joint, wrist to knuckles, and then knuckle to the fused finger, and we'll get the hoof. Next part of the horse, that's because the woman the leg comes in front of that. Let's do the figure next. The figure will go also very quickly, but I think we need the figure just so we can make sure that the ribs are not too long and the thighs are in the right place. All right, so we've got the back of the neck, we've got the block of the forearm. So he really makes it 3D with that aggressive shadow on the forearm. And we'll go from elbow back up to the shoulder. And then that shoulder is going to lead into the, basically the collarbone, which is this aggressive dark mark. And then this is where we get the S curve of the, what I'm going to say is the breast. It's male or female, it's still the breast. S curve, we get the waist. And that brush stroke is just so elegant that it carries through itself into the middle of the thigh. And then it jumps a little bit and it gets you the rear end into the back of the thigh. This, the front of the thigh can be completed by, it looks like I'm seeing it as armor, but it could be just fabric. So there's this shape on that the harsh straight line triangle of that dark stroke of the front of the thigh. Then we get led down further into the block of the knee. Then we'll get the oval of the calf muscle, transitioning into the trapezoid of the ankle. From ankle to, the calf muscle to the ankle. And then you see a little curve at the bottom where the low side of the ankle is. And then I think what they're trying to show is that the feet are pushing forward. Now I'm interpreting that.
You kind of see a stirrup in there too.
I think so. I think that's a stirrup. So part of what the part of the work that we're going to have to do is going to do to erase, to pull out some of these things.
Trevor,
Mm-hmm.
if you go up behind the butt, what is that piece with the horizontal lines? Oh, it's part of
Yeah.
the jacket, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's like a little peplum or something on the back of her jacket.
It's really nice. Yeah. Well, the reason I say it's really nice is so you have this S curve on the front, and then that, like a figure eight, reverses. It follows the front and goes through the middle, and then it echoes the rear end, and then it echoes again up here. So this one echoes here, this one echoes here, and it just, the S curve just carries all the way through. And I'm wondering if this is this S curve here, it almost comes up and it gives you a curve on the front of the biceps as well. I mean, the flow through this figure is very elegant, full of these S curves, and that's probably why I'm getting, picking up a feminine feel, because of the curvy nature, is red and is distinctly feminine. That being said, there's also these commanding straight lines. There's I guess there's an S curve in the hood, but then there's an angle of the head, and the back of the head is all full of straight lines. And then so is the flexing on the of the front of the thigh, the block of the knee, and then the front of the shin. Again, a balance of these straight lines to curved lines, and that's, I think, I mean, like I said, I was picking up a Joan of Arc feel, where you have kind of a more masculine activity with armor, which is more rigid and straight lines built into like I would say a very feminine form, a very feminine figure, at least. Okay, so if we have the the figure, then we can see the cast shadow. And I love the cast shadow because we already have the rib cage of the horse. So what we're kind of looking for are defining characteristics, and this cast shadow really describes the round part, the rounded curvature of the belly, and then where that belly meets with the pelvis, it flattens out at the top. So that whole shadow shape is very helpful. You can see that there's a line work that starts where the tail is. Tail enters into the body, and it goes up and over. That is a pelvic bone. That is the hip bone on this far side. And then you get this side, you can see the tail transitioning into the thigh. And then you come down, and we're going to get, this is the Gluteus Maximus right here. So you want to imagine the knee bent so extreme in a human, I'm looking for an extreme bent leg in a human, so that we don't lose sense of the anatomy. So this is a huge bum. So that's the butt, and then it goes from the rear end to the thigh, and then this little bump right here, and I'm gonna put a spiral. That's the knee. So the knee goes all the way down into the ankle, which is this S curve here, this little circle. And then that's knee to ankle, and then ankle to the ball of the foot. And then the ball of the foot, you get this fused toe, which is just the hoof, and then a toenail at the end.
Yeah, this is actually in dressage. This
Move.
isn't the technical term, but it's a prance. Like they do one leg up at a time,
Mhm.
and they're ready to go up on their hind legs, I think.
It looks like dressage to me. Let me see what plate this is. I don't think they have even the descriptions in this book. It's just the essay and then the prints. They don't tell you what museum they're in. There's no list of anything. Crazy. Yeah, there's no information on this drawing. I have to find it. I have a book dedicated to late Delacroix. So maybe this is from it. All right, yeah, this is plenty of time. Okay, so then the next, this little what hangs down, the knee is right here. So you can anticipate the knee being right on that side. So it goes knee to ankle, and this is the Achilles heel right here. So it goes knee to ankle, and then ankle to the ball of the foot. And then the fused.
It's very hard to tell in the drawing what's happening there.
I totally. Sorry, I'm getting everyone's text messages are being exposed. Hey Bellas, what are you doing, Bellas? Kristen's at in the office today, so Bella is a little lost. She's a little sad face.
Aww.
Oh my gosh. All right, I say we do it. I'm gonna make my horse's head a little smaller though. And if anybody had a kneaded eraser, that might be your friend today too. I don't even have one. Jackass. It's okay. All right. So I'm going to imagine that the black marks are not there. And I'm just going to color my guy in with these grays. And then my next move is going to be to freaking erase. And just for the record, I'm not claiming that Delacroix designed this piece this way. This is a really good way of, analyzing it and creating a nice, actually having something, a good drawing to have at the end. Yeah, this is an art lesson and not a master copy. But I also love the idea, and I did it in the other class. I love the idea of, being really being okay with being flexible with your pigment, and applying pigment, and then removing it. Just drawing with the eraser.
I have to go, but thanks everybody. That was
Oh,
fun.
no. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Stephanie, do
Huh?
you want to show your art before you
Oh.
leave, Stephanie?
All right, I'll just show you this guy.
Whoa. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wow.
I haven't
Very
gotten to you
nice.
yet.
Okay,
Very nice.
I'd love it if you sent your
Oh,
pic of all of them.
beautiful.
thank you.
Beautiful.
It sort of reminds me of Ralph Steadman, who did all those pen and inks for, what's his name?
Totally.
Yeah, very funny. All right,
That's
thank
beautiful.
you. Okay,
Have a
bye.
good day, Stephanie.
Bye.
Uh, And so now that I'm kind of like, comfortably pulling out some of these arrays, some of these lines. And you could say that it's almost like a step back, but it's really not. I mean, I'm actually cleaning up my drawing. I really am drawing with the eraser, and I'm not just erasing to erase. I mean, I'm seeing the contour, seeing the contour of the rear end here. And the face, I carved off the face completely, like reshaped the the hood. I pulled this arm in. I'm gonna have to adjust the thigh a little bit. Oh, Bella's okay. I'll let you out. I think the dog has to go out.
Oh, take care of Bella.
I gotta take care of Bella's, guys. I will be right back.
Bella.
Hopefully you guys can stick around. If not, I can always send you the video, but yeah, she's gotta go. Poor thing.
No
Okay, come on,
problem.
Bill. It'll take just 2 minutes.
No problem.
He was going too fast anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I
allows me
couldn't
a
catch
little
up.
catch-up time.
I was still filling in pigment while he was taking it away. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, I'm still drawing.
Oh,
I'm always so slow.
yeah, you and me both, Grace. Well, I should just include myself there.
No. Me.
Yeah, sorry. I really like my horse, and its rider is pathetic.
Uh-huh.
I have to redo this poor rider.
I love how abstract she is.
She's gorgeous.
It really is. This is just so up my alley. Love it. Was that a deep sigh I just heard?
I guess so.
About the right
No,
time.
Grace, that was you, right?
No, it was me.
Ah.
I forgot I wasn't muted.
Don't worry, we all have,
Oh, that's okay.
we get to that time where we have a deep sigh. I was telling you about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my eraser really is my friend with this.
But only after you've put in things to erase.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you sure the Bella doesn't need to go out again?
We need the
Why?
time.
I think she does.
Ooh.
That's an awfully big forearm somehow.
Yeah. It is.
Oh my.
I mean, it really depends on how much time you want to spend on these shapes. And the shapes are just the, the brush strokes. They're so pretty. I can't even believe it.
They're so pretty. My father used to ride dressage. If this turns out like anything, I'll give it to him.
Yeah. I can't figure out the ears. I can't figure out the top of his head, the forelock. Where is it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing where it's like, you probably don't know horses the way he does, and neither do I. And so it's like the way his ability to be subtle is just supreme. It's just, I can't even do it either. Like that's.
Oh, okay.
So it's on a thing where it's like, it's not only is it, it's just so much knowledge, and then it's being played so like seemingly effortlessly. It's like seeing a virtuoso.
Mhm.
It's like hearing. Imagine like, I mean,
Right.
this is what it is. I mean, it's watching Mozart. Like, you can't hear Mozart conduct a symphony because he's dead. But Delacroix, you can. I mean, it's right here, So it's like, we're staring at the face of genius, and it's amazing that we're able to just even connect with it on this level. Is really says a lot about us. But it doesn't make it easy. You know what I mean? It doesn't even make it. Yeah, it's like we could just to get close is a blessing. And yeah, and I don't. I don't know music well enough to be able to say if I'm exaggerating or not. But I mean, it is. Delacroix is really up there. And the way that these little gesture strokes, like the series of marks I just made in that foot, they complement the tone and the shadow shapes so well. These like gesture components in the legs.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the rear end here. I mean, it's like just that little delicate mark. There's only 3 types of marks. There's the tone, there's the black blotches, and then there's the fine tipped linear gesture lines. And I think even in pencil, these will complement. They'll look beautiful. Did Stephanie send a picture? Is that what she did? I hope so. I love this L in the thigh. This gorgeous triangle. Aggressively cuts over, and then you get a vertical, and then that turns into a sail shape. And these shape associations, because we don't know what they are necessarily. Like that looks like a comma in the knee. There's an S curve, back of the thigh, ankle, stirrup. And even some of the ties, the detail in the waist, and then the thin wash complemented with they weren't they should be parallel. It's like there's like a light wash on the top of the fabric, the bottom, and then even the left side, right side, and the bottom, and then it's hard to almost discipline yourself into making deciphering which mark is required for each part.
Yeah.
I love being able to define the back of the thigh with the shadow. And the front of the thigh and the knee with the same shadow of the horse. Powerful. Oh, then there's another one. Look at this extra. Oh, you can't see it, but there's an extra gray. See the initial mark of that tail. So you have
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
three.
Yes.
You have all three strokes represented. So you have the
Mhm.
black. You have the black shadow of the underside. You have the dark, delicate upside with the thin line, and then you have the gray wash mark on the back end. So the tail has all three. And I suspect that all the parts may have all three.
What is the, never mind, thank you.
Oh yeah, that shoulder's got it. Yes. And then there's these little dots. I don't know if these dots are just like he did it. I think they spillage. I think it is actually spillage. Very, very Toulouse-Lautrec, by the way. I was looking at some of the other horse sketches. And I
Really?
wonder, yeah, and I'm wondering if Lautrec, studied. I mean, I know he studied Delacroix, but I wonder if he was able to actually study the drawings too. Not that it would matter. Yeah, of course he would. Of course he would. Yeah, so so Lautrec learned horses from Delacroix. Got it. Looking at it's beautiful. I had a couple different things going on where the leg and the leg of the horse and the foot of the rider. There's a really gray S curve that defines the bottom of that leg elegantly with a little slash.
Trevor,
Mm-hmm. You
I
gotta
don't,
go.
no, I just have no idea what a certain mark is behind the rider's leg. To the right of the leg. What is that?
The saddle, you mean?
Thank
To the
you.
To the right of the leg.
Yeah, I just see the bottom of that saddle as a horse's hoof, but I certainly know it is not. No, down behind the rider's leg. No,
This
the
part?
leg, the shin, the rider's shin.
Yeah, this line.
No, to the right of the rider's shin,
Here.
the back of the knee. Yeah,
This
that
shadow
whole
here.
dark part.
Yeah, I think that's a cast shadow
Oh.
because it follows the contour of the belly. And it starts to diffuse the further away it gets. So I think it's a shadow.
Oh, gotta change that whole thing.
Sorry.
Same here.
Oh yeah, and I meant to say that the gray marks you can draw with a tortillon.
Did you notice that there are no reins? There's no bridle
Mm-hmm.
that we can see.
Yeah, and we can't see her hands at all.
At
least I can't.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like maybe there could be like a set here.
Oh
That
yeah,
would come.
maybe so. Yeah.
I mean, it's not there. I'm just
No.
saying. It's definitely not there, but it could be there.
Oh, there is a line beneath its nose.
Yeah. No say.
Oh my God, Trevor, I thought I was looking at the original work. It's yours. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Stacy, thank you.
You're welcome. Trust me. I really mean it. I was really happy with mine, and then I
Start
wasn't.
filling with it. I know. I feel like I'm doing that myself. I feel like I just let it be.
Yeah, I just might need to eat something.
All right, y'all. I've got to go. I got to go see the guy about some rocks.
Trevor, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
This
Really
is
fun.
fun.
Can we do
Yeah,
if I stop to share, could the remaining people, can I see what happened?
What happened is right.
Yeah.
Okay, Grace, we're ready.
I'm still, of course, way behind.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that is. Let me pin you. So
Beautiful. Lovely.
yeah, it's really, it's
Yeah.
got really beautiful flow.
Long way to go.
How about the what was the first one we did? Did you do Jacob?
Oh, Jacob. Where's Jacob?
There's me. Oh, nice. Hold that a little bit away from the space and freeze it. Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah, that makes me happy.
Yeah, it's really nice.
How about you, Stace? What you got?
I too, Grace, have a long way to go.
Oh yeah, nice. The shape is there.
Thank you.
Yeah, the shape is there and the gestures there. You got a nice little style going. I would just build that up.
Okay. Thank you.
How about Jacob?
Adele.
Now, how about Jacob?
No, we're not even talking about Jacob on this end. Not even a whisper.
The wrestling match occurred.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, Adele, I pinned you.
Oh,
Nice.
that's beautiful.
Oh wow.
Lovely.
It's like it feels like Spanish almost, like it feels like El Greco.
Huh.
Oh, you know what it is? It's the Daumier of. We gotta look. I'll look it up real quick. And Adele it looks awesome. I love that
Very
page.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, very
lovely.
I think it was Daumier did a painting of El Greco, or did a painting of what's that the Spanish character? That's like
Ya no sé.
No, he like rides the horse and he fights the windmill.
Don Quixote?
El Greco, Don Quixote. Not El Greco. What do I keep
Don
saying?
Quixote.
Daumier, Don Quixote.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Did you want to show your first?
Look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. And so this is. Oh, you can't see because I haven't done the screen share. Screen share. So there's two versions. I don't know what this made me think. So there's two versions of this. One is the painting.
Ah,
Oh yeah.
that's fabulous.
Yeah, which I had never made the connection between Daumier and
That's beautiful.
but like you like studying Delacroix like in this fashion just really reiterates the influence he had on that generation. And then this is the drawing version. Also,
Yeah.
see what
That's
I mean?
Of course.
It's
The
almost like the
horses are
same.
so wrinkled though.
They're so
They don't-
emaciated. They're emaciated.
Yeah,
They don't have that.
Well,
They
it's
look
not-
old.
but if you think about the
They look
technique,
old. and
Yeah, they
tired.
look old.
the technique is there. So it's like the thin wash,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the aggressive shadow shape, and then like a fine line
Yes.
pencil.
Yeah.
And dude, Delacroix is Daumier is no Delacroix. So I'm not trying to say that, but that idea the connection came when I saw your piece, Adele, and I wasn't suggesting anything. Could I see your
Jacob.
Yeah.
These are great.
Oh,
So
It's got a
nice.
circle?
And I
nice.
like
Yeah.
that you framed it.
Yeah. We got to paint. We got to paint.
Yeah, it's a bit garbled, but I love I always like it when you go through the anatomy, and that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to get at with the Jacob, because just seeing how those limbs sort of intertwine and following
Yeah.
each one back to its shoulder
it's
socket. I
short.
mean, to me, that's so new that it's great. Just like the one you did with the chalkboard, that was amazing.
Yeah, really.
I love that. I love how you go through that anatomy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always fresh.
It's,
Mhm.
it's,
Yeah.
it's a
Maddie,
pleasure.
Maddie, did
Maddie
you want to
there?
share?
Um,
Yeah.
so I've been kind of like in and out of the room, and I'm not in the best position to share, but I did make
It's
a TikTok
fine.
about it. So I
Let me see
think
that. Did you want to text that to me and I'll show it?
that to you.
You did text it already?
Yeah,
Sweet. Sorry, I haven't been checking my phone.
you're okay.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me put the screen share back on. We'll see this together for the first time.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1.
2, 1, and
Oh, I gotta turn that down.
Hi, Mitchell School. Welcome back. Today, our morning warm-up was a delicate pause and wrestling with the ink. We worked off his sketch, trying to fill in the blanks. We went over anatomy and form, as well as movement. Quickly, once we have the structure down, it's onto our own interpretation of the drawing. So I erased all my unneeded and necessary lines and started drawing my own interpretation. I actually changed my angel into a girl. Mitchell School, you're given the opportunity to interpret drawings and paintings your own way. But the teacher is always so proud of our creativity and supports us.
That's cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's
So good, Maddie.
great.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm
Can
gonna
you
cry
go
again.
back and-
You always bring me to tears every week.
Aw. Are you able to go back so I can take a screenshot, or is that not possible?
Oh, I can send you a picture, Stacy. Do you?
Good,
Yeah,
good.
I can
Please
text it
do.
to you too.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, everybody. Maddie, I'll see you at 4:15, and the
Trevor.
sister, I will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Trevor.
See you next
You're
week.
so welcome, Stace. You're welcome, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Thanks
Yep.
for Thursday.
Bye.
Ciao.